All right, now to give us more perspective on this, we have joining us in this broadcast from Berlin, Dr. Sergei Semliny, who's a defense expert and also director at the European Resilience Initiative Center. He's joining us live on this broadcast. Now, Dr. Semliny, this is a statement by an individual who is slated to be, possibly the next Chancellor of Germany, who's saying that Germany's reliance on the United States of America to provide a nuclear cover for Europe perhaps is not as solid as what was earlier perceived, and therefore France and the United Kingdom need to step up. Is Europe looking at a possible restructuring of how its security would be conducted from here on?
Yeah, hello, and thank you for having invited me today. Well, it's a tricky question. Theoretically, yes, both the United Kingdom and France have their nuclear weapons, and they have means of delivering the warheads on the depths of intercontinental range. But both countries have never developed their weapons to be an umbrella for other countries. They have a very limited amount of warheads, and their nuclear doctrine does not foresee usage of these weapons to protect other non-nuclear members. Within the NATO, this role was always reserved for the United States, which has still much more nuclear warheads and means of their delivery. So if you look at the both nations, the UK and France, they only can rely for a strategic strike on their nuclear submarines. And they have only, if I'm not mistaken, only one nuclear submarine each, which can be at the same time in the sea and can launch these nukes. So in the situation of nuclear blackmailing by Russia, when Russia says, if you don't yield, we will strike you so massively, we will just wipe out your nation. Both nations, France and UK, cannot strike Russia on the scale that would eliminate the whole Russian territory. So in that deterrence situation, the level of threatening from Russia towards Europe and from Europe towards Russia is not equal. Russia has much more striking potential. So Russia would definitely try to use this and will at least try to convince France and the UK that if Russia, let me say, attacks Poland or Germany or other non-nuclear nations, then the nuclear nations, France and the UK, will not oppose. That's why the US nuclear shield was so much important for Europe and for NATO all the time, and still is important.
Interesting. Now, looking at how things are shaping up within the United States, where under Donald Trump, the United States has been blowing hot and cold about its commitment towards the NATO military alliance. Germany, I'm pretty sure, we're looking at the example of Ukraine, which in 1994, as a part of the Budapest Memorandum, gave up its nuclear weapons. A carrot of a NATO alliance membership was dangled in front of it, and this is where Ukraine finds itself today. Do you think Germany, considering the manner in which things are unfolding in the geostrategy of Europe, would want to develop nuclear weapons of its own?
Well, that is a million-dollar question. Will new nations develop their nuclear weapons? Shall we? Are they allowed to do so? Because all these nations, they have signed the non-proliferation treaty, and Germany in particular promised not to develop nuclear weapons. Moreover, Germany has promised in the 2+4 treaty of 1991 that no nuclear weapons of other nations will be stationed, for example, in the eastern part of Germany. So the question is, if there is a technical capacity. Yes, there is technical capacity. Germany and other developed nations can develop their nukes. B, if there is a legal option for that. No, not now. To start developing nuclear weapons, you should first cancel quit several international treaties.
Right.
And say we're not a part of non-proliferation treaty, for example. Third, will it have consequences? Will other nations, try to sanction Germany, like Iran was sanctioned or North Korea was sanctioned? for attempts to develop the nukes.
Right.
I think it will not be the case because the situation has changed, and one can argue that the situation has changed and old treaties do not act, but it's a very tricky question, of course.
Interesting. We'll have to see as to how things unfold. Thank you very much indeed, Dr. Sergei Simleny, for joining us from Berlin with that perspective there.
Thank you so much.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.